And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
Welcome in, everybody. Big show of TigerBait live tonight. Mike Scarborough here with Buddy Songy. Lots to discuss. LSU men's basketball team ends up losing. What was the final, Buddy?
88-68, but they did make a run late.
And, of course, second signing period. Brian Kelly and his staff got it pretty much done in December. Only waiting on two guys today, and it was really 1.5 or 1.25. Dominic McKinley, all we needed to see today was him sign his national letter of intent. He did that at Acadiana High School this morning. That's why we got Brian Kelly early today. Usually we get a LSU football coach at 3 or 4 o'clock on a signing day. We got him at noon today. And Terry Bussey sticked with Texas A&M. That would have been a nice flip today, but didn't see anything along the way other than LSU's coaching staff really doing a fantastic job, giving him something to think about. So brought to you, of course, by Pride Roofing, Alumni Hall, and Koala Insulation. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. And welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Mike, publisher at TigerBait.com. Hey, I got to give you kudos. You know, folks, I was telling Mike this on the radio show today. I'm a romantic. I want to believe all these cryptic tweets and all these innuendos. And, you know, you were steadfast. And this is a great thing that when you have some experience being around a total of 60-plus years, we got contacts and we have people that have been through this business and know what they're doing. And when they tell you something, it means something. And you were pretty steadfastly saying, hey, man, everything I get points to Texas A&M. LSU did everything they could. You can justify why the kid stayed in the state of Texas. I think it had a lot to do with his parents. And we know that what these young men are getting now with NIL and all that. But you had good information. You were right. I wanted to believe, but Dominic McKinley. And look, early on in the year, you can go and look at the shows. I was soft on him because he took some plays off and he wasn't out in shape and he didn't go 100 miles an hour on every play. But I'm here to tell you that forget what you saw with LSU defensive players and recruits coming in. This is going to be so exciting. We've got the dates, March 5th. So stick with us. We'll give you and tell you what our eyes see and our ears hear and try to portray what this team is going to be like, because I don't think anybody, Mike, an LSU fan and part of the LSU Nation, could have predicted the defense would be so bad, the offense so great with a Heisman Trophy winner and another 10-game season. So appreciate all of you on the ride with us again this upcoming football season.
Absolutely. Looking around, seeing where the dust settled on recruiting classes. Looks like about number 7. I think Rivals has it outside the top 10 at 11. But the consensus is LSU's right in the middle of the top 10. And that's fine. Particularly when you look at that and you already see that pretty hefty 2025 commitment list. And then also some of the names that can be added to that. When that thing's sitting at about 20 or so in August before Labor Day, I think that class is going to be everything that you want it to be. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Buddy talked about it. March 5th is the start of spring football. Spring's always busy. LSU men's and women's basketball coverage. LSU baseball gets cranked up next Friday. Reminder, we start our little 15 to 20-minute segments with Kendall Rogers, a standalone baseball segment with him next week. And so going to have a lot going on in March because everything's happening at the same time. So going to be living on campus in March and April.
If you listen to Coach Brian Kelly with his press conference, one of the great advantages of being a member of TigerBait, you get the film. And, oh, by the way, all of you YouTube fans, we appreciate that interaction. And look, you know, they calling me a dumbass and an old man and all these other things, and you just laugh. Of course, they were getting on Mike.
Yeah, they wanted me to fire myself. Yes.
They wanted to fire the cameraman.
They wanted the cameraman. I said, well, believe me, I'm not going to fire myself. But we got that resolved today. If you notice on BK, it's I've been using a pretty nice video camera for many years, and after a while, pulling that microphone jack in and out of that headphone jack, it started to get go a little wacky. I think probably started noticing it really bad Sunday with Mulkey, and then again with what was it? It was Mulkey again. Previewing Vanderbilt, where she was singing Toby Keith yesterday. May he rest in peace. And so we swapped out cameras today, and Brian Kelly's had no static in the audio. So,
and they were giving you static because
even though I
had a static,
and I pushed in a post. My apologies. We're fixing it. And well, Mike, you're being passive aggressive now. Like,
I didn't see that.
Oh, you can't. I'm like, look. I know passive aggressive, and I wasn't. I was legitimately. I can't stand it when everything's not perfect. So. But anyways, we got that resolved. And so, like Buddy said, sometimes the commenters on our YouTube page are pretty funny.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We appreciate the interaction. But
Absolutely.
Once again, I'm going to tip the hat to the glass half full. I think that when you have 60% new coaches, oh, by the way, they did formally announce the 6 transfer portal players. And I think that we're sleeping on that. Xavier Thomas is a guy, if you watched him at Mississippi State, I know they only scored 1 touchdown, but he's a hell of a punt return threat, and nobody has seen LSU have that for the last couple of 3 years. A.J. Swan, look, he can't run away from too many, but he has started a bunch of games and thrown some passes. Obviously, Jordan Gilbert is going to come in, and he's been hurt. You want to have a little stability, better depth in the secondary. Daniel's the wide receiver along with Thomas. That's 2 excellent wide receivers. And of course, as we know, another corner from Ohio State. The first 2 have been hurt. JK, we expect to be out there. JK Johnson out at spring.
Nobody even talks about him, because and I talked to a buddy of mine who's covered Ohio State for 25 years. He still thinks that when JK's healthy, that he's a starter.
Yeah,
he thinks that he has that possibility. So
we saw him on the scooter very early last year, and so you picked up some players in the transfer portal. Got a D tackle. Brian Kelly said off of the record, I had to get Scarborough off my back. I had to sign Dominic McKinley, and they did what it takes. But I'm excited just with the potential, Mike, to see. I watched the tape of Missouri and Ohio State again, and I'm telling you, folks, we don't know how they're going to line up and who's going to be where, but you're going to see more aggression, more stunning, more disguising, and better utilization of talent. And we're talking about those young guys that can run. That's the thing that drove me crazy last year. They didn't have anybody come out and run and being physical. So you got to get physical. You got to get aggressive. And it'll be interesting to see how they put the pieces together.
I want to circle back to something you said a little while ago. Mentioned Xavier Thomas. Going into spring, and of course, everything can change there. And then again in August, going into the spring, give me your number 1, number 2, and number 3 wide receiver.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they're looking at, but obviously, I think number 2 is going to be there in that trio. We know that he's coming back for his senior year. Shelton Sampson has the potential to grow into Terrence Marshall and Brian Thomas Jr., but does he realize how good he can be? Kyle Parker is a very solid wide receiver. Aaron Anderson is going to get some looks in the slot. Chris Hilton, if he can stay healthy, gives you a deep threat. And then you got guys coming in. I mean, they're going to be 7, 8 deep again at wide receiver. The question is,
who is the true number 1?
Oh,
because right now it looks like there's a bunch of 2s and 3s.
Would be if he didn't drop the ball in crucial time.
Yeah, and that's my point. I don't know. I think there's a bunch of 2s and 3s, but there's no breakout star that's kind of what you've seen every year for the last 15 years, where there's an Odell, a Chase, a Justin Jefferson, on and on.
Well, that's the whole point.
A Neighbors,
But that's the whole point. When you saw Chase and Justin Jefferson and Terrence Marshall, you said, oh, man, that's a hell of a trio. And then you got Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas evolving into what.
What I'm saying is, I think there's more Craig Davises than there is.
Well, I mean, look,
Dwayne
those guys
Bowe.
have got to develop and get better, and it's part coaching and a lot on the player.
Yep, we're going to see. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
I
March
don't think
5th.
that's going to be a problem. And by the way,
it's going to be early, and it's going to be morning practices too. Which we loved last year.
Don't forget, you got a new quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. So you're going to probably lean on that tight end for a dump off. You're probably going to run it a little bit more, but you also know what Nuss brings to the table with the deep vertical ball.
I think they're going to try to run the ball more. I think the running backs are going to have more possible receptions. And you and I joked about it again today, and we kind of joke about it a good bit on this show about what that running back rotation might be like. You know, who's going to be the number 1, number 2, and number 3. I you know, come on, Frank.
Well, it all evolves. I think what we're trying to point out here is that, seriously, folks, they want to develop those guys, and they want them to know the whole game plan and everything in the playbook. And that means pass protection. That means blocking. That means picking up blitz. That means swinging out the backfield when you call an audible, all those things. But what I was saying last year is after he ran over that guy and that guy didn't want any more of him, you didn't see a lot of that. And so a lot of people thought Caleb Jackson should have got more because of his athletic ability, but yet they're trying to make him into a complete running back. So we'll see how all that develops.
All right, let's run through some comments real quick. Again, if you're enjoying the show, please do us a favor and hit that like button. Also, share the show. Hit that share button. Share it to your Facebook feed. Text the link out to your fellow LSU buddies, and thanks for spreading the word big time. We're about to hit another milestone in subscribers probably within the week. Fire3449 says it best. There it is. And he also adds, Mike, Sankey has to get better basketball refs. The first half of the LSU game, they refused to call fouls. And the second half, you sneeze on a player, and they rang you up too inconsistent. So it's not just women's basketball that we have an issue. It's men's basketball as well. Mick McGrath, good evening, gentlemen. Glad to have you with us, Mick. All right, let me scroll down here. He says, Mike, I live in Slidell. How can I listen to Buddy's radio show? I have you download the app. What is it?
Pelican Broadcasting.
Yeah, go to Pelican Broadcasting on either Android or the Apple Store, the Google Play Store, and download that app. And then once you download it, from 1 to 3 o'clock, you'll see the radio icon, and that's how you listen to Buddy.
And of course, Mike was on. We had a long segment today. You were fantastic today.
Yep. Buddy has great guests. He has Todd Walker, Ben McDonald in baseball season, Ed Daniels, and who all are you regulars? Jacques.
Chester Boucher with WVLA. Cobble every now and then joins us. Of course, a lot of media guests, a lot of players. Alan Risher, former quarterback tomorrow. Eddie Fuller played 4 Super Bowls on Friday. It's Super Bowl week. What I like about this and what I'm going to notice, this stadium, Mike, $10,000 for a ticket. All of it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars to take your kid, your wife, and stay over there for 4 or 5 days. That's how much it is. I'm interested to see what the stadium's going to look like when LSU plays USC, and how many Tiger fans are going to be making that trip.
1 to 3, Monday through Friday. Check out Buddy's show, Pelican Sports app. Again, you can get it on Google, Android, and on your iPhone. LA Mom says she's ready for football. Blaine Smith says now it's time to turn attention to LSU baseball. Absolutely. We get man, it's busy. We get Jay Johnson and several players Friday midday. So
1:15, yeah.
We'll have that for you Friday afternoon. It seems like he likes doing Fridays. And Fridays in the news business is always a slow day. So I wish we'd start getting them on Mondays or Wednesdays a little bit earlier in the week. That'll happen during the season for sure.
Quick baseball tip that I noticed with the schedule. There are a ton of games early in the season at 2 o'clock. The opener a week from tomorrow against VMI is at 2 o'clock. So pull up the LSU schedule if you want to go to those games. There's 4 or 5 of them early on in the season at 2 o'clock.
Man, with some of this weather we've been having, the scrimmages heading to the women's game on Sunday, I look over to the left and Alex Box parking lot looked like it was 2/3 full. and people were still pulling in, given Mulkey's big crowd, which they had 12, whatever they had, 12,200 and something, maybe, I think I saw. Get out there and get some sun. We had 70-degree days, and the scrimmage schedule, that's open. You can go watch LSU baseball before they start the season.
10 lefties, and I'm going to say it right now. I think this is going to be the deepest pitching staff we've seen in modern day history. They're going to be better as a pitching staff this year, but man, replacing Cruz and Beloso and Trey Morgan and all those guys, going to be interesting to see. Tommy White probably will be protected with Travinsky and some other guys, but we will give you great baseball stuff, and I'm excited to watch you and Kendall on the weekly show.
Yes. All right, let's see what we have here. All right, Dane says, good evening, Mike and Buddy. On 3 has LSU at number 4, says LA Mom. Yeah, I tend to think that when you look at the cumulative, when they do the average, that number, that 11 that Rivals does moves them to 7.
But why are they even relevant? And why is ESPN relevant?
They're still out there.
Recruiting?
They're still out there.
But ESPN, I coined this the especially stupid programming network when they started injecting politics and all of that crap. I don't watch any of this stuff except the games. But seriously, they do not have the money and the talent to give Bible rankings, and yet they're part of the composite. I don't understand it.
Well, ESPN should have been dropped from the composite many years ago.
Sure. But it doesn't matter whether the guy's a 2-star or 5-star. You got to line up and play on Saturday night.
All right, let's see. Yeah, Barry, this is something that Buddy and I talked about earlier today. He says Bussy used LSU as leverage to get a bigger signing bonus from A&M, and next year he'll be in the portal. Exactly. It's not like you get an NIL deal and that's the amount that you're stuck with, because these kids say, if they have a good freshman year or a good redshirt freshman year and they break out, and they can say, you know what, that 12,000 or whatever the amount is, you're going to have to double or triple or quadruple that, or I'm going here or there, and you're going to see that. That's why it's vitally important, and we've been seeing LSU coaches do this for quite some time under Brian Kelly, is you continue to recruit guys even if they're not committed to you. You still forge those relationships, because you never know when that can come back around in a hurry in a transfer portal.
But, you can pay me now or you can get paid later. Let's just take Jaden Daniels, for instance. Now, NIL, I don't think was as top-heavy with just everybody throwing money. And as we know, a quarterback now is $1 million a year plus. It seems like that's one of the going rates. But Jaden Daniels, they sold him on, come over here. We're going to work with you. We're going to, get you better. You know what you got to improve on. And guess what? We're going to prepare you for life after college football. That young man is going to be making $30 freaking million with his first contract with the NFL in the end of April. So my point is that he came over to LSU for X amount of dollars, and A&M wants to triple it. He can't ever second guess the decision because where it took him. And that's what Brian Kelly, that we've been talking about all this time. If you care about what you get on signing day or beforehand when you visit, and if there's a bag in your hand, this is not necessarily the place for you. And I know fans want you to go after every 5-star, but that culture that they've been building in that locker room has been 2 damn hard years. And that's why you have to boot Dwight McLaughlin and Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harris and all those guys that don't fit. It's about the locker room and culture. It's not about what are you going to get, pay for play before you ever suit up in the purple and gold. Jaden Daniels, you think he made the right decision? I don't know what he got NIL coming over here, but I guarantee you he will never regret that. And it wasn't all up front in a big old bag.
Dane Bergeron says, I listened to you guys on the radio show. That was earlier today. Mike, I agree with you on Frank Wilson's running back rotation. I had the same issue with him when he was at LSU. Let the hot running back carry the rock. Now, here's the thing. you got to give a caveat that or play devil's advocate. Because when I do that, you got to play devil's advocate because we don't know what mistakes Caleb Jackson's making on pass blocking and this and that.
And we don't know what he practiced like.
Part of it is tongue in cheek when I do that with Frank Wilson. But look, Josh Williams coming back for another year. That's fantastic experience, steady, great blocker, even though his small size. It's fantastic on pass blocking. That's fine. But, you know, now you got Caden Durham coming in. Go watch his film. Man, you got some stud running backs there. Trey Holly, when he had his opportunity. Not going to say that Josh Williams needs to sit the pond, but I can make the case that Caleb Jackson and I'm pretty certain when Caden Durham gets here, those might be your two best running backs. And Trey Holly's nothing to sneeze at.
And then you put the tape in 2022 and when LSU's beating Alabama in overtime, and then you got Josh Williams doing all the things, running like a man possessed and making the block to get Jaden Daniels in the end zone. So, look, we're not saying we know what to do with the running backs coach and rotation because we don't also see him in practice. And we don't know how they're doing academically. I think, as we said, we talked about this with Weeks. You have to do some things before you're going to get on the field. And a lot of times it makes you take your patience pills.
Dwayne D said, Mike, watch Brian Kelly's press conference on TigerBait YouTube. I could tell by the tone of your question to Brian Kelly that you wanted to know how they will address the defensive line. Mike meant business. Look, you guys know. I mean, that's just it. There's no doubt. You know what I was kind of hoping for, and Coach Kelly's known to do it. And maybe it'll be after if he loads the wagon in the May period where he'll be blunt in a later date and say, man, we just, back a year and a half ago, we had a run of bad luck. I mean, had so many defensive line coaches in so many years. Jimmy Lindsey and his illness and coming from Jamar Cain after replacing him late in a year, on and on. New defensive staff, I get it. Then Louisiana hasn't been productive. And then, of course, Mason Smith and Wingo going pro. I think that they thought they had those guys going back middle of December, and they didn't. They didn't come back. I was thinking he might really dive into that. I mean, I think he did as much as he wanted to with that question, but I think if he was very candid. Look, there's some guys in that building that really dropped the ball in my mind, and they're no longer they're somewhere else. And one of them's at another SEC school, and I'm like, good luck with them.
7 of the last 8 years, I think LSU's had a different D-line coach.
Yep.
And so that has been part of the problem with that stability. I will say this. I echo your concerns. I don't think it's going to be a problem moving forward. I think Bo Davis is going to get bodies in here. And if you look up the stats of Wingo, who was hurt half the time, Mason Smith, who was a Dolly Parton bust, and of course, Jordan Jefferson, who played angry in the Senior Bowl because he was still pissed off he didn't get more reps. He was probably their best defensive lineman, and we're all screaming, why didn't he get more reps? They did not get productivity at the D tackles last year. He intimated they could move a couple of guys inside. I think Parashan and possibly Savion Jones moves inside. Intimated they're going to cross-train guys, but they will have some bodies. And I think with Blake Baker, the great excitement that people have about that, he's not going to be feeding. He's going to be moving people around and blitzing. You're not. He's going to cover up his weaknesses.
I'll say this: as bad as the cornerback situation has been the last several years, I think the defensive tackle spot's worse.
Well, I think you'll be proven wrong this football season.
Well, I'm talking about today.
It don't matter today.
We'll see in May.
All I care about is September 1.
All right. All right. Rodrigo Khan, please make a Rumble account, not on YouTube as much anymore, guys. I looked into Rumble a while back. I'll go back and look at it again. It's just kind of like one more thing that to do. It's like, Mike, get a TikTok account. Man, like, dude, like, how many more things am I going to have to do? Right? Instagram, X, Facebook. I'd like for a few things to die off first. Few platforms to die off before adding a couple more, but I will check. I'll need to look back at Rumble again. That is a growing platform. Big Honus says he likes Rumble. Fire 3449. Rivals has players in their top 100 who aren't in the top 50 of many others. I saw that Jancic is gone. He says he was the only coach that didn't have Louisiana ties.
Bob Diaco is still listed on the website. LSU.
What his official job is, I don't know.
But they still have a special teams coordinator and outside linebackers coach. We know that is not going to be his situation. But Jancic did get his papers, and they went young. They went Louisiana ties, and I think at some point, it was needed, Mike. I really do.
Dane Bergeron, LSU did well in recruiting. I want to see better development, especially on the defensive side. Tackling has to improve tremendously. Thank you for that super chat, Dane. And it's going to be an interesting spring. That was one of the questions, too. Glenn West followed up my D-line question a little bit later, talking about cross-training some other players on the defensive front. So I guess we can go look at the offensive line list and see which guys there could maybe give some reps in spring on the defensive side of the ball. So, all right. Let me see. Thanks for that super chat again, Dane.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. You know what time it is? Let's hear from Mike and Alex with Pride. And here we are.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory.
We got it. Property still in disarray from the recent hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla español.
Talked to Mike Faraday about an hour ago. He called me at halftime of the LSU men's basketball game. He wasn't happy, but he did want to let you guys know if you're on the North Shore, Ponchatoula, Hammond, Mandeville, anywhere that suffered hail damage, he's got 200 homes worth of shingles ready to go. They've moved a lot of their resources into that area to get to as many people as possible. So if you suffered hail damage, when was that? A week or two ago?
Yeah.
They're working around the clock, 14-hour days, he told me, to get to everybody. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16, and free roof inspection. You say TigerBait, they're going to give you TigerBait Premium free for a year. They're going to pay for you to have it. And again, they're working around the clock to get to all those people. And then, of course, normal business. If you're in Baton Rouge area, anywhere in South Louisiana, call Pride Roofing if you need a new roof. That's commercial or residential. They've got you covered.
I am in such a good mood tonight. I am going to tell you that as we appointed to this sign and signage, the LSU defense is going to improve so much in 2024. You're going to have great pride in it. By the way, commercial, residential, metal roofs. Metal roofs continue to be hot. Acquisition of Crown Metals. Acquisition of a concrete company, shingles, everything from jobs around the house, free roofing, free inspection, anytime, anywhere in Baton Rouge. We're building up the office. Your buddy, Mike Kirby. You can call him, leave him a message at 275-2041. Anywhere outside the Baton Rouge area, 855-PRIDE-16. And as we say, they check all the boxes. They're great people. They communicate. You can trust them. They'll sharpen the pencil on a competitive money deal, and you will have great pride. All we ask, give them an opportunity, Pride Roofing.
Barry Barbier, Saban now part of College Game Day. Thanks for the warning, Barry. I'll delete that off my DVR. No, I'm kidding.
That was highly predictable. I mean, if they're paying McAfee all that money to be on Game Day, it'll be interesting to see what Saban gets to be on that show. You know they got to be moving out Corso. It's just a matter, and that's a touchy situation with a lot of people. But I think Nick is going to be. I think he's going to be probably a good addition to that show, which I don't really watch game day much anymore. But I think he's going to do some SEC media stuff, the draft stuff. Look, Miss Terry wasn't about to let him hang around the house all the time.
Can you imagine when game day comes to Baton Rouge and he's on the set? Oh boy.
Well, look,
but now he's retired. All right.
Yeah, I saw him playing golf for Phoenix.
Knock on wood, he stays healthy. Let me ask y'all the question. We know what happened at the 20th anniversary of the 2003. So in 2033, good health for Nick Saban. Does he come back for that reunion and wave?
I think you got to do 25. I don't know if he'll make 30. So 25 would
be
probably 28. Right?
I would do a 25.
Yeah, probably 25 years. And listen, I know some people still have the jilted lover syndrome. That is why you should be so excited as an LSU fan.
The thing about it is there's a lot of old coaches. Like I don't think DiNardo's ever been back. I know he came back at a fishing camp with some of his players and, but Curly Hallman won't, I know several media guys who tried to interview Curly Hallman. He won't even do it. Won't do it. And, but how would fans feel if he comes for a 25 reunion?
Look, folks,
that'd be bygones. It'll already be under the water on the bridge, right?
You mentioned DiNardo, and Mike has given me a minute or so to talk about Tiger Lawyer. Tiger Lawyer is in a serious medical situation, battling cancer. Many of you know Vince. Many of you know that he was one of the most respected internet posters when he had relationships with coaches that were incredible. Part of that Gridiron Club that formed on Chinese Inn on Airline Highway with DiNardo and was so big an asset to the football program. But please put Tiger Lawyer in your prayers. He's in the fourth quarter, and we just wish him the best. And Vinny, incredibly smart lawyer, and hanging in, my brother. We're praying for you.
Absolutely, thoughts and prayers, and a big LSU fan. And you brought it up. That's back in the original Gridiron Club on the ground floor with the original recruiting bash, and that whole group. Vince, was it Ray Sameka?
Ray, Oliver, Big Ragu,
yeah,
Tom and Buddy Bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to forget anybody. There was a bunch of them, but and one thing about Vince, he always had that relationship with the head coach when he was going to introduce him to the crowd, man. He all had roles, but hang in there, Tiger Lawyer.
Absolutely.
Praying for you, brother.
All right. Let's got one. Let's see here. Guys, I got something for you, a real treat for you. Talk to Beth Parks over at Alumni Hall. She's got a 10% discount that she's rolling out to LSU fans on everything in Alumni Hall. Use code TigerBait, TigerBait, all one word, when you check out. Or if you go into the brick and mortar store in Perkins Row, say TigerBait, and they're going to give you 10% off anything you buy. And this ain't going to end at the end of the week. She's going to keep that coupon code active for forever. So go into Perkins Row if you want to go in the store and try it on and get a look at everything. They've got all the newest LSU baseball jerseys, including the gray one that's always been my favorite. They now have that one in stock. Pinstripe white, regular white, gold. They've got all those in stock. They've got great T-shirts. So that's the best place, LSU fans. Alumni Hall. Shop the store Blue Bonnet in Perkins Row, or shop online at alumnihall.com. All new Nike gear, Champion, Johnny O, Almond Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, and more. Nice polos you've been looking for, hats, Yeti. All new LSU baseball gear is in now. And so if you go to the front page of TigerBait, I've got a little near the top of the front page of TigerBait.com right now, the LSU baseball gear you've been looking for. And I've got every item listed. Just click on those links and use TigerBait, the code, for 10% off at checkout. And what's great about Alumni Hall, I haven't mentioned this in a while, everything ships from Baton Rouge. It doesn't ship from a warehouse in Utah or Massachusetts. So if you live in Louisiana or East Texas, Dallas, you're going to get your item in a day or two. You're going to get it pretty darn quick because they're shipping it right from the store here in Baton Rouge.
Give yourself 20 to 30 minutes to browse and look at it. Baseball on the horizon, all of the stuff Mike mentioned. Look, Bluebonnet and Perkins, I'm around there all the time. It's generally a bottleneck. Go in there. You will not be disappointed.
They've got it all. And again, the youth jerseys, it seems like the youth jerseys are their top sellers right now. So if your little ones need baseball jerseys, you're taking them to the game, they've got them for you. And then they're the legit, look like the ones that Tommy Tanks and all of them are wearing out there. So that's the ones you want. Okay. Dwayne D says, looks like the week off and playing around with moving Haley Van Lith to off guard was a big boost in the arm. I asked Coach Mulkey that yesterday, if she had seen the tape, because I think Haley Van Lith defensively went into a whole other gear Sunday. Now, Florida had only won 2 SEC games coming into that one. I get it. But I think her words in the post game combined to her actions in that basketball game were really good. But I guess the key to make it all work is POA. Last year, POA's got to be consistent and really good at the point.
And look, Coach Mulkey's been trying to get her bench more involved. I think Del Rosario is now playing consistent enough to get 9 or 10 minutes because you're going to have foul trouble. Breaking a record, scored over 100 against Florida. POA started. Haley Van Lith came in, played the 2-guard. The only problem I see with the move is that you either got to sit Flaugier or Michaela Williams, because Anissa Morrow and Angel aren't coming out unless they are winded or in foul trouble. But we'll see going through. I think you've been hitting on the big thing. They've got to be in the top 16 so they can host 2 games.
Play Vanderbilt tomorrow night. If you remember last year when they went to Vanderbilt, it was, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks later in the season. And I think they had their warmest day and on that particular date in Nashville history. And that gymnasium did not have an air conditioning. And Kim Mulkey in the postgame Zoom with us in the media afterwards, she wasn't too happy with, they were using the little battery powered fans. And, but I think when I looked at the weather tomorrow night, it's going to be about 50 in the 50s. So I don't know if they're going to have a heat problem, but that old gym, it's time for a new one, Vanderbilt. Spend some money.
Well, she got doused quite a few times last year. But
yeah. Rick Cloetti says, I'm tuning in from Nashville. Looking forward to seeing the Lady Tigers in person tomorrow. That's awesome, Rick. Tell us how that was. I'm sure we'll see you on TV. And just like every other away game that the women have had, they're drawing big crowds and setting records for women's basketball attendance at other schools because it truly is a traveling show with Angel Reese and Flaugier and Haley Van Lith. The parents are bringing the teenagers out, and they want autographs. And man, I'm telling you, sometimes we're down underneath the portal, the media room, and we're set up for a post-game press conference. And we can hear when Mulkey's does her radio deal with Patrick Wright, and they put that through the loudspeaker in the arena. So if people are sitting around, they can hear what she's saying. When she walks out, you can hear the screaming girls. And then when Mulkey leaves, comes to talk to us and then leaves, she goes back out in the arena with the team and the girls. And I'm telling you, it sounds like that old Beatles footage at Shea Stadium. I mean, it's crazy. The people that stay after to meet these star basketball players in women's hoops. It's nothing like we've ever seen before. Rick says it's a sellout at Vanderbilt. Man, okay.
They just hosted Alabama ladies, and Alabama, I think, won by 7 or 8. So I'm expecting LSU to win that game. But
well, she said her motivation for the team was that Vanderbilt's beat Mississippi State and Auburn, who've beaten LSU. Yeah. So Todd Davis says, good question today to BK about the defensive tackles, Mike. Thank you, Todd.
I got Mike a T-shirt. I don't know when it's going to be finished getting printed, but it says, "Where's the beef, BK?" And of course, there was a commercial years ago, Burger King. I forgot Miss Clara, whatever her name, and she had the line, "Where's the beef?" So when those shirts come in, I hope you're going to model.
Are you going to Las Vegas?
What's that?
Have you decided if you're going to Vegas yet?
I haven't decided. Depends on if you're getting tied or not. If you're tied or not,
yeah, okay.
I'll be a witness.
I was about to say in Las Vegas, if I have an "I told you so" moment, you're going to owe me a Morton steak or something over there.
Okay. Well, I probably won't be in Vegas, but
I don't even know if Morton's is a thing over there.
I will just say this on all of the talk we've had. I give the utmost confidence that you will not see 1 ounce of defensive philosophy, scheme, preparation, player rotation. That is out the window. You're getting ready to see the badass Tigers that want to choke somebody's neck getting to the quarterback, and you're going to get this guys. If you put the tape in Missouri, when's the last time you seen Ohio State score 3 points? That's what's coming.
Well, that's Jaden Daniels about Missouri.
You stole that game, but my point is that I want to see the product, and these guys are going to need 6 months to get it right, but I'm confident they're going to have the kind of personnel they need to compete. But LSU is still a year away, in my opinion. 25. Award us that tonight.
I want to see a Brian Kelly opener where they come out and they look like they've prepared.
They've got to win the opener. I agree with you.
I don't care what USC does or doesn't have, or what they lost late in recruiting, or what they didn't do in the portal. That is not going to be a breezy game. No way. And there's been a bit of the last 2 openers to be desired as far as, don't want to hear any more. They aren't the team I thought they were. Come out blazing. Because I don't want to be back here the next week and everybody's, mad at Verge Alsbury for scheduling those big openers, and it's all his fault.
Speaking of scheduling, perfect time to interject. We will not be here next Wednesday night. Mike will tell you why.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day. So we're going to do it next Thursday night. All right, let's see what we got here.
Just get your schedules, folks. So Valentine's night next week, and we both have significant others, and they deserve the night. So we'll be back over here next Thursday night.
I think Preston is doing his show tomorrow night. If you were looking for him and Zach on Monday night, Preston got that flu I had 2 weeks ago, 104 fever. And so I think he's doing his show tomorrow night. So be on the lookout for that. If he's indeed doing it tomorrow night, we'll tweet it out and make sure that's coming. But now he's going to be going head to head with LSU women's basketball. All right, let's see what we got here. And
real quick, while we're killing time, LSU bringing in a lot of linebackers. Going to be interesting to see what Blake Baker and his coaches do. By the way, Blake Baker was here 1 year. Damone Clark and Micah Baskerville improved immensely. But you're bringing in Singleton, you're bringing in Keys, you're bringing in Kalaj Collins that we talked about. And I like what Kevin Peoples is going to bring. I don't ever remember LSU having an edge rush coach per se. He's getting paid a lot of money. It's going to be fun to see LSU go after the quarterback and the $64 million question. And I think we all want to know what they want us to be looking for when we get to spring football, which is 4 weeks from yesterday, the start. What are they going to do with Harold Perkins? Is he going to line up different? Is he going to be Sam? What they're going to do? And that's going to be a lot of fun to see what they do with the pieces of the puzzle. Whit Weeks, we talked about it today, total misuse. Thank God the kid didn't get in the portal. Deshaun Womack, Jackson Howard, all these guys. Does Toviano move to safety? All of that coming with answers as we get into this football season.
All right. Tim DeSales and his group over at Koala Insulation, they're the absolute best here in Baton Rouge. Give them a call, 225-457-1001. Koala has the capacity to tackle large spray foam projects and in new home construction while being available to help everyday homeowners get some real relief from South Louisiana's extreme weather. As an added bonus, most of Koala's projects qualify for federal income tax credits. Give them a call today, 225-457-1001, and they also give you a free energy efficiency assessment. So let them come out, see what you need. Their spray foam and the stuff they can do in your attic, I'm telling you, knock on wood, I hope we don't have the 105-degree days like we had last summer. But if you do, and you've had Koala come out and get in your attic, do some spray foam or 2 or 3 other different types of installations that they can do, they're going to make a world of difference on your energy bill or whoever your utility supplier is. So give them a call, 225-457-1001. And the other part, say TigerBait, say you heard about it on TigerBait.com, and they're going to give you 7% off on your project. And absolutely fantastic. Between Tim coming out the first day to give me the quote after I'd called him the afternoon before, he was here the next morning, and the completion of the job was 3 days later. Nobody does it better than Koala of Baton Rouge.
And let's knock on wood. I don't know if me and you can handle 20 straight days with 100 degrees or whatever. But look, we'll be out there probably the morning of March the 5th, and we'll start to give you the tidbits. I mean, Nuss and the receivers and the big offensive line and all the young guys. I think 14 of these 28 signees are going to be early enrollees. What's Jawan Johnson going to look like at corner, and all these other answers that we're going to get. So going to be a lot of fun as we start to put the pieces to the puzzle here.
Yeah, because it's always we make a beeline to the newcomers, but there's a whole lot of new. You've got new defensive coaches. You got a new tight ends coach. How is special teams going to be handled? A lot of stuff that's going to be happening in spring football. And March 5th, who knows? It might be really, really cold that first morning.
Slade Nagel, by the way, his daddy, Johnny Nagel, was a damn good, tough DB. Played along.
Slade Nagel was a good quarterback at Bard.
Absolutely. But Johnny played across from Tommy Casanova. And so Slade is bringing, I've got a lot of people saying, and, you know, that's what BK said. Joe Sloan is the call the plays. Kelly, obviously, on the headset listening to everything. Cortez giving his input. But Slade Nagel's been an offensive coordinator at Tulane for a while. And so I can't wait. We've seen
how good Tulane has been coached the last few years.
I can't wait to see this offense. Now, look, you're not going to have another 1,000-yard rusher at quarterback in my lifetime. Maybe in his, but not mine. Let's see if they can minimize the INTs with Nuss. And how exciting is it going to be if Nuss can play consistently like he did that half against Georgia in the SEC?
What do you think is going through Slade Nagel's mind, where he comes from Tulane? He comes in this job. Obviously, there's a higher pay increase, but look at his tight end room. Look what he's going to have to work with. That's one of the things last year. I think Mason Taylor might have been dinged up a bit last season and 100%. Some might even say he had a sophomore slump. I think he's going to bounce back and have an incredible junior year.
And you mentioned it. Pimpton is 88, is a really good-looking guy, and I like to get creative on offense. Trey'Dez Green, I think, is going to play some tight end, but I think he's also going to be a big wide receiver. 6'6", 230, can run. Pimpton and him, you throw it up, and tendency of quarterbacks to throw high. You're going to have some great potential. Mac Barkway scoring his first touchdown last year. Tight end going to be appreciably better this year.
That's a good point about Trey'Dez.
Oh,
you can line him up at receiver, and you're
put him in the slot. You're
not relegated to him just being a tight end or, yeah.
But I agree with you. Mason was not 100%. We expect big things from Mason this year.
Burgess Williams says if LSU can avoid injuries at defensive tackle and they can sign 1 or 2 quality defensive tackle after spring, LSU will be fine. I think so. Look, if Sean Washington can come in, and I just don't know. I don't have a real opinion because I need to see him. But if he ends up being a guy, then it really cuts into my whole argument. If he's able to be able to deliver. I mean, when I asked Brian Kelly the question, he's telling me about Ahmad Bro and Relaford.
Those are defensive ends.
They're true freshmen.
Those are they're the ends though.
Yeah, it's like I'm talking about tackles, coach.
But once again, I have a lot more confidence in Bo Davis at D-line than John Jancic and Blake Baker over Matt House and all the other coaches. Corey Raymond is back. You're in on already a lot more five-star corners. Things are moving up for the LSU defense. Going to take a while, but
Dwayne D said, yeah, Nussmeier will rely on the tight end group much more than Jaden Daniels 5. And I think that's
absolutely.
I think you're right, Dwayne.
Well, that's your go-to guy when you have pressure. You dump it off. And look, we saw Pimpton in practice, man. That guy's raw, but he is going to be an excellent athlete, football player. Kelly always loved big offensive line, big offensive uglies, but tight ends, you're going to see more of that look coming in the next couple of years.
Burgess Williams, too many defensive coaching studs for the defense to not be good. They will get the most out of this defense. And here's the thing, Burgess. Because of the transfer portal, every team's got issues. There's no runaway. I mean, I'd have to go look and see what Georgia's, got. But there's not a whole lot of teams that are runaway differences in talent. What's the difference between the third seed in the 12-team playoff from the 9th team or the 11th team? I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of difference, because the transfer portal and what that's done to college football is even the playing field a whole lot. And when you look at LSU's schedule right now and you go week by week, regardless of what you might not like I don't like it with the defensive front, LSU can win every single game. You might, have heartburn because of getting gashed and the running backs running free because your defensive front can't stop anybody. But your offense is going to score some points. And you get past that USC deal and you go down the line, LSU right now is, probably favored in every single game. You get Alabama at home, they're going to have growing pains. Best is it Ole Miss? Toughest game on the schedule? Yeah, them at home. Right?
It's going to be a 13 or 14 chapter book, and we haven't even got to the first chapter. So I would like to see what they have. I got a text from one of our great callers who, by the way, did business with Pride Roof and PFM, and he says, I think Burns and Sage Ryan probably aren't going to play as much. Now, those two guys, you love them personally, but they had a propensity to take some bad angles and give up some plays and not exactly be stars on a horrific defense. But who knows where they're going to fit? I don't know what Baker's got for Sage Ryan or any of these other DBs. Major Burns, we love that kid, but let's be honest, he led LSU with tackles. Probably had a bunch of missed tackles. But to me, I want to see them out on the field in spring and try to see where he's slotting everybody. And I agree with the earlier message. This defense, forget last year's defense. Just erase it. Erase the whole year, because you'll never see that again as long as this staff is in place. Never.
Fire 3449. Vandy has a $10.25 billion endowment. They have the money to build a new arena. Absolutely. I don't know the rules of endowments and how it can be spent and all that stuff, but Baylor's new arena that was on the getting drawn up when Mulkey left for LSU was, I think, priced at $175 million. And I imagine with inflation, that might be $230 million now. So when you start talking about a new PMAC in the future, what's that going to end up being, the final price tag on that? But my question for Vanderbilt, is that arena a national, been earmarked as a national thing, or is that
registry thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if that happens, you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And you already saw how they had to shoehorn a baseball stadium next to the football stadium at Vanderbilt. They need land. And so, but if it hasn't been earmarked for a national registry, then they need to tear that dump down. Carl the Cat says he hopes Denver Harris gets himself right.
Carl the Cat, congratulations. Once again, we do this once a year before the football season. Carl the Cat was written up the most improved football official in all of high school athletics So, Carl the Cat, hope you're doing well, and congratulations.
So where does that rank him amongst EBR officials? And then what's his overall ranking?
Well, we don't have a ranking right now because we want to do it on True Game Film. But his calls and refereeing this year will once again be sponsored by
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Love you, Carl.
Yeah, he's a great LSU fan. Dwayne D says that play with LSU up 48-40 over Ole Miss when Denver Harris and Major Burns took horrendous angles and both missed tackles were a big reason for the loss. Tackling.
Yeah, and Mike and I were talking. I was asking him the other day about, look, when we went out to spring, the first thing everybody noticed is that the corners and DBs could not cover the wide receivers. And yet you justify it by saying, man, Malik Neighbors is really good. Brian Thomas Jr. is coming into his own. Aaron Anderson, when he puts his foot in the ground, makes you miss. That guy's got to be better. He's got to get the rust off. There's a lot of potential, but we saw it through the whole spring. And I just hope that the defensive tackles don't stick out like a sore thumb like the cornerbacks did last spring.
Anything you want to add before we get out?
One other loss we are all very saddened by. Paul, of course, the bug man, Paul Salvat, passed away on Monday. Many of you seen him with his commercials on TV. Just an incredible father, incredible friend, incredible man. And so that, and with Vinny being sick, we always make sure to end on a positive note and hug the ones that you care about. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And may the good Lord bless and keep all of you.
Absolutely. Thoughts and prayers for them and their families, and hang in there, Vince. And so if you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Please do that. And hit that notification bell. You get an alert every time we upload something new. And much appreciate you guys being supporting us each week and what we do at TigerBait. And so I think Preston again will be tomorrow night, and we've got a lot more coming your way on TigerBait.com. Got a lot of class of 2025 recruiting updates coming your way in the next week to 10 days. Be on the lookout for that. So go to TigerBait.com and subscribe. You can try us out for $1. It gives you 1 week for $1. And we've actually got a phone number that you can call if you need to cancel, or if you want to actually talk to a voice. Nobody does that but us. We actually have someone who answers the phone, and they actually speak English. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week. Good night.